Rich Tarani here with TMC. Thanks for watching. We're at ITEXPO 2014 in Las Vegas. On our program is Richard Scannell. He is the EVP of Corporate Development at Rivermeadow Software. And Richard, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Rich. Good to be here.
Likewise. Why don't you start off, tell us a little bit about your company, what you guys do.
Great. So Rivermeadow is a software company. We have a SaaS platform. And very simply, we automate the migration of servers into and between clouds in a 100% automated fashion.
Okay, so your primary audience would be telcos, data centers, media companies, CDNs?
Yeah, all of the above and more. So anybody essentially who's either in the business of moving their own servers, perhaps into a private cloud, or the telcos or the public cloud providers, or the systems integrators who are working with them, the resellers who are taking those offerings and packaging them up and building solutions. Essentially, if you have servers that need to move either from a data center or an existing cloud into another cloud, cross-hypervisor architectures, cross-cloud architectures, from physical or virtual, and you need them delivered into a cloud, that's what we do. A simple use case I give to try to illustrate this, if you had, say, 100 servers that were never virtualized, 100 servers running in a private hypervisor, say ESX, and 100 servers running in a cloud environment, perhaps Amazon, and you wanted to migrate all of those into, say, an OpenStack environment running on KVM. Rivermeadow is a single tool. You can essentially upload all of the necessary credentials and IP addresses, and without any person being involved, we'll migrate all of those in exactly the same fashion, delivering a bootable clone of each one of those servers into that target cloud.
So in terms of your importance to the cloud market, it seems like this is an important trend, the automation of...
Correct, yeah. We're a bit of the last mile, right, problems, or solution to one of the last mile problems. So the cloud really took off, and when we talk about cloud, we're talking about the infrastructure as a service space. It really took off, you know, obviously with Amazon probably as clearly the leader, now other folks gaining ground, but it took off around what we think of as greenfield servers. So all new servers that were typically acquired to build new applications. And a lot of it came out around the inefficiency of IT organizations to be able to respond in a timely fashion to the needs of their business, and the business kind of circumvented them by swiping a credit card. Now that cloud has been really more adopted by the CIO and the head of infrastructure, there is a desire to consolidate and perhaps gain a lot more control over that. So no longer kind of giving the Heisman to the business around this and much more embracing it. So now there's a desire to move around workloads that perhaps were historically kept in the data center, or perhaps are on multiple different clouds because different business units did different things. So you have this concept of cloud sprawl. And so we help to move those around. And as I say, historically it was focused on what we think of as greenfield. We address what we call the brownfield. So the old servers going all the way back to Windows 2003 and older versions of Linux, and help to move those into the cloud infrastructure as a service environments that are available that give you all the quality of service in terms of safety and predictable economics that you get from those platforms.
Now you hinted at something which is a fairly big issue still in the tech world, and that is a lot of, I don't know if rogue is the right word, but rogue deployments of cloud.
Sure, shadow
products.
IT, right? You get all these terms for it. Yeah, so one of the areas that we get brought into is this issue where the CIO discovers that there's a bunch of servers out there running things, and we see this a lot in, you know, companies that are not perhaps very tech companies, right? But are much more what you might think of as traditional businesses, everything from manufacturing to hospitals and things of that nature. In many cases, a business unit will have started a project out on a cloud environment, and now for a host of reasons, you know, they no longer need it or want it, but there may be all kinds of regulations around retention of that environment. We work with a beverage organization that uses outside parties to do a lot of creative design, the Super Bowl ad, as an example. Well, once that company's done, the commercial has run, you know, they want to get on to their next project. They don't want to keep that stuff around. Now this organization has to figure a way to get that back into their environment. So those are simple use cases. You know, there's 30 or 40 use cases that we have clearly identified as places where our technology fits. I like to use an analogy to help explain this, right? So if you think about before Windows came along in the PC world, if you wanted to move a file from one place to another, you had to know all the commands necessary. You had to be able to figure out if there was enough space where you were going to go, all that. And then Windows came along and the file manager came along, and you can just click your mouse on a file, drag it and drop it somewhere else, and it goes, right? And you don't need to know any of the underlying commands. You don't need to figure out if it's a network attached drive or a local drive or any of that stuff. Well, similarly, what Rivermeadow does is says if you have a server in one environment and you want to move it somewhere else, essentially, you can just give us that data and we'll move it there from one place to the other. We'll take care of all the underlying technical challenges that exist in that today.
Very exciting. Is there anything else the audience should know? What's next, or any other thing?
Yeah, I think the other thing to understand about us is we're a SaaS platform, so it's a pay-as-you-go model. You pay on a successful migration. There's no upfront hardware or software to buy. You bring us 5 servers, you pay for 5. You bring us 5,000, you pay for 5,000 once we've successfully migrated it.
Very exciting. Thanks so much for being on the program.
Appreciate the time. Thanks very much.